Yo people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another video. Make sure you smash up the likes every single damn time and subscribe if you're new. And you'll notice I'm not in my home. I'm not in the home location today. I'm away on business, conducting business at AFTV Studios with my brother, the man, the legend, James B.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me back.
It's a pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure to be on.
We are the nerds of YouTube.
Yeah, I'll take that.
But you're actually smart.
I was going to say it the other way around, but I'll take that. I think the word you look for is fraudulent. I just say XG a few times and people are like, wow, that's insane. They're like, he knows his tactics, doesn't he?
They love that.
Field tilt's the new one.
Oh, the field tilt is incredible.
Yeah.
I don't actually understand. Like, I guess it's just dominating more in the opposition's half, but field
something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Incredible. Pictures. But guys, this is the Arsenal versus Chelsea preview. The Emirates Stadium, of course, is the location. Not far from here. And James, let's just kick it straight off, bro. I'm guessing you're confident because it's Wolves. You're coming off the back of a win. It was a bit of a sticky, icky week, but you've recovered from it. You've come out the other side and you're back to winning ways. So,
I wouldn't say confident. I'm comfortable.
Okay.
Which I mean, like, I'm not sitting here super nervous. Which Arsenal at a point had me like that because there's this weird thing in fandom where if your team's terrible, and I know I'm on a Chelsea channel, I'm not trying to have fun. I'm actually having a very serious conversation.
Very serious situation.
Like, when your team are terrible, of which Arsenal we know well with the back-to-back eighths and all that,
yeah,
you almost lose nerves. You're not nervous anymore. You're like, what will be, will be. When you're really good, you lose nerves in a different way because you're like, but when you're on the edge of like, are we or are we not? Are we going to prove it? I've got a lot to learn about my team. And Arsenal a few weeks back with the Bayern Munich tie, the Villa home game, that's where we were, that sense of like, are we contenders or pretenders?
Yes.
The defeat to Villa, and I'm not trying to, nothing's done, and Arsenal should play every game like they absolutely believe they're going to win the title because they can.
Yeah.
But for me personally, the Villa defeat, I just always felt the minute we went behind City, it wasn't retrievable.
Yeah.
I felt City would either win every game or could maybe drop points once. That might afford us a draw at Tottenham or a draw at Man United. But do we win all our games?
That's the question.
And they drop points more than once? Or just the one? I don't know. So I'm almost in this kind of like, what will be again. Like, you know, we'll see. So that's what I mean. I say comfortable. It is a really big game. I'm not downplaying it. It's massive. And Arsenal have to keep on it. They have to keep City honest.
Yeah.
Just like Liverpool are going to.
Yeah.
So we've got to do the same.
It doesn't feel like a big game though.
No.
I don't know why. Or maybe it's the fixture congestion. If we've just come off the back of an FA Cup semi-final defeat, you guys have just played Wolves on the same day. But there isn't this big... I mean, we're not even doing super fan debate, you know? I was saying to the production, I was like, what's going on? Usually Jason and, you know, all production are messaging me, all right, we've got this, box to box. So much... There's silence this week. I don't know if everybody was sick or holidays.
Next to Rory and Sophie arguing for Cole Palmer over Erdegaard or something.
You know, combined 11, what are we doing? No content? No content after run? Robbie's chilling across the road. He's just relaxing, no content. I said, what's going on?
Talk about F1, what's going on?
I said, we have fallen. There's no way this is down to anybody but ourselves. We must have fallen so far for you guys to be...
Arsenal... No, let me say this. Arsenal playing their part in that. There's a really interesting discussion going on social at the moment that at the time of recording, and you know, you're only basing off a few tweets, and I always like to say that because you never really know what the situation is. I haven't researched it myself, but apparently there's still a lot of tickets on the ticket exchange for Arsenal.
Really?
And this wasn't the case pre-Villa and a lot of games where we were just relentlessly winning. So there does feel like there's a lack of hype almost on both sides because maybe there's a slight underlying feeling that, like I said, we're behind City and that becomes very, very difficult to claw back. I don't think it is that. I think there was also a fixture...
congestion.
Yeah, and there was a time change, which I think impacted that as well. So I'm not having a pop at Arsenal fans when I say that at all. But I think that's part of it. This is the same as last year when we went on what was genuinely a bad run, not what we're on now. Yeah. You know, you guys came to the Emirates and we were winless in 4 and we won 3-1 and it sparked something. We beat Newcastle after that, but then we fell away again. So it's 2 years in a row that your trip to the Emirates has felt like, I don't know, a touch underwhelming. Yeah. But that while I can forgive the Arsenal fans for having that a bit, that cannot be the case for the manager and the players.
No. And I think I watched your video when you said perspective is needed. You guys, although you have fallen away in the last week in all comps, because it's really the Champions League which was the killer, I think one defeat against Villa can happen. Villa are a very good team. They're fourth. They've got a very good manager. He's set up very well. And they've got very good players. And when everyone's fit, they've got strength in depth as well. This is a team that actually have a bench that can come on and affect games. They pick between Diaby and Bailey and whatnot. But outside of that, you guys are 6 clean sheets in a row, I think, away from home.
Something like that. Our away record is phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
You're scoring goals. I know the striker conversation's been happening recently with Havertz and Jesus and Trossard, but there's still enough players there to contribute with goals if there's no out-and-out scorer. The defence is on point. In general, not just obviously the one-offs, but for us, we don't have anything on point. This is what I have to ask you from a rival's perspective. There's nothing on point. Everything's off key, you know? The defence is shipping goals this season at a rate that has never been seen before since the early 90s. The goalkeeping situation, he's had a little bit of a rough patch, Petrovic, but he seemed to claw himself back out of that now. Really good performance against City. But then the forwards, it's strange. We get goals, but we're not clinical, if that makes sense. Like this season, we've actually been a lot more free scoring. 4 goals against City, 4 goals against United. But we're not clinical, so we don't take chances. So it's a blend.
Yeah, from a rival's perspective on Chelsea, I think I said a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, that there was time for Poch to go. I think I'd said that to you as well. But it wasn't so much because I didn't really believe in what he was trying to do at Chelsea. It was more because I felt he did that thing managers do before they get sacked, where they just talk nonsense. Yeah. Ten Hag is like, he's flying the flag for that right now. Like, how you could say they showed resilience against Coventry. That's
embarrassing.
And there were a few quotes, you know them better than me, from Poch that I was a bit like, oh, really? Is this what you want to say? Yeah. But I don't think this is his team. And I know a lot of people go, well, they've spent $1 billion. He's got enough to beat Burnley away and Sheffield United and whatever. Burnley at home, sorry, Sheffield United. And that's all true. But when you've got someone who is clearly a talented manager in Pochettino, I just think you might live to regret it if you don't actually give him the chance to try and mould it into what he wants it to be. And I don't know how much of a chance he's fully had to do that, despite acknowledging fully that Chelsea spent a lot of money, how much of it was on him. And I know you'll answer all that, but I just, some of these performances you've had against Tottenham, against City, against us at Stamford Bridge, thought you looked really good. Yeah. Getting to a cup final, a cup semi-final, beating Everton 6-0 the other day. They're not actually that surprising, because I think when you watch Chelsea, especially earlier in the season when people were still behind Poch, the first 10 games, there was an undertone of, I can see what he's trying to do. He's moved away from that more recently. He's become a little bit more messy. Yeah. But I think he's worth giving a proper window under the terms he wants it.
The problem is, when you spend $1 billion, can you give anyone a proper window now? Because you've spent money on, say, midfielders that are not physically imposing, are not box-to-box, Szoboszlais. They are control, keep the ball, more maybe tailored to a De Zerbi. Don't go crazy, I don't want De Zerbi, but...
They are, you're right, though.
Caicedo and Enzo is very similar to a profile of McAllister and Caicedo at Brighton. It's not a profile of Henderson, it's not a profile of Dembele, it's not a profile of Wanyama, it's not a profile of Szoboszlai. The back and forth, the rock and roll, the up and down. So even if I agree with you, this team is not tailored to him, you may have to be on the chopping board because of that, because the money's already been spent, the players are there, and we need someone who is tailored to this team, because we can't just get rid of those midfielders. So it's a tough situation. I do think with him, he's done some things that haven't helped himself in terms of misprofiling players or playing them out of position. He's Chilwell left wing. We've seen everybody Gallagher at times, but left winger. Gallagher, in the last match as well. When you have Sterling, when you have Mudryk, and compromising the balance of the team, so they double up on Madueke on the right, who didn't have a great game. So the team has been effectively carried by Cole Palmer, and he is a doubt for this game as we're speaking right now. Illness and Gusto maybe will be strapped up as well, but these guys have to play. Yeah, because if I'm asking you as an Arsenal fan, like, who are you worried about? There's only one name.
It's funny enough, those two. Yeah. It's Palmer and Gusto. I think Gusto's been a really good signing, and you need that because it takes the pressure and weight off the Reece James injuries. Yeah. Like, you never want a player of Reece James' calibre and quality and experience to be injured, but you can stomach it when Gusto's playing this well.
Yeah.
So then, the thing with Cole Palmer is, do you know what makes him so good and why I genuinely have so much admiration for him is, I can't really pin like a one thing he does.
Yeah.
If he's in the 10, if he's false 9, if he's off the right, is he creating, is he finishing? Is it from distance? Is it in tight spaces? Is it on the counter-attack? Is it combination play? Is it drifting past players? He can do all of it. He's everything. Man City need him.
Yeah.
And I know they've got Bernardo and Foden, so people go, what, are you crazy? But I think with Gundogan leaving and the fact that they need a little bit more central quality with Bernardo and Foden playing there, I think Palmer would have done a lot on the right, as he did before he signed him.
Bernardo seems like he's going to leave in the summer as well. So
well,
that
there
would have been a great replacement.
But look, he's not there. He's with Chelsea, and he's been brilliant. He's been a real bright spark, and I actually think he's a really, really needed profile, not just because of his creative outlet. Like you said, you've got Caicedo and Enzo.
Yeah.
He's not slight. He's not small. He stands at 6 foot, I think.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit about him. You can play him off the right in the midfield, and I think he's going to be the answer to Pochettino eventually balancing out that midfield.
Yeah.
I think he's got to make a decision on, does he want Caicedo as a 6, in which case you need more presence in a box-to-box player.
Yeah.
That could complement Palmer nicely. Or do you want Enzo in that team at all costs, in which case I think you've got to upgrade a little bit more in terms of your 6, like a Palhinha or something.
Yeah.
I'm going off on a tangent. My point is, whatever you do, Palmer works.
Yeah.
So he's been not just a brilliant signing, but a totally unpredictable player that I think, in fairness to Chelsea, for all the signs that I think many of them have gone wrong, he's been like beyond a success.
Yeah.
Beyond. Like, if you paid 70 million, we'd be sitting there going,
good business.
I see why you did it.
Yeah, 100%. And on the flip side, I look at you guys in Odegaard, and I see a player that we absolutely have to shut down, or much like the last game at the Emirates when we played you, he will run riot and get goals. He'll crash the box. He'll play the final pass. He'll set others up for chances. Whether we shut him down is purely down to, in my opinion, whether Poch decides to go with Enzo or Gallagher. And I think, considering Enzo is carrying an injury and has been playing in pain, I would go back and revert to Gallagher playing next to Caicedo as he did against Everton, and shut that midfield down and just tell them to, you are in a rat race and you have to just keep up with your half space players in Odegaard and whoever else plays on the other side, and watch him. Because I think if you shut down Odegaard right now for Arsenal, it forces a Saka to have a good game or take on a man and have a great game. Martinelli has to step up. Whoever's playing up front has to step up. But Odegaard's the key. So he'd be the guy that we need to be watching. And I think that's going to be in the lineouts, whether he goes Enzo or Gallagher. So Enzo's playing through pain. I think he's got to be brave and let him go to surgery at this point.
Really?
Really important. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, wow.
'Cause we're not seeing the best of him. So I think we're just, I don't know what the saying is, but what is it? What's the saying? Oh, I'm going to do a Saeed.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're very much in danger of curtains on the wall.
Curtains on the wall.
But so what are we saying? That Enzo's got an injury that he's been playing through?
Playing through pain, yeah.
And you're feeling like it's just a case of...
For me, this season has become so... Our season is now about ruining yours. I'll be honest.
But
that's what this game is.
European football. You can legitimately...
It wouldn't be on merit for me. It wouldn't be on merit.
Yeah, but who gives it... Listen, right, we all love to... Man United don't deserve to be in that FA Cup final.
Yeah.
But they're there.
Yeah.
And ultimately, like, United fans have the last laugh about that. Whatever we think of Coventry and Anthony and all that, like, they'll go with there. Now, you guys can play Europa League football.
Yeah.
Which for me is no joke of a competition. It always annoyed me that Arsenal were just so blasé about it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we don't want to be in it anyway. Well, you haven't won that one. Why don't we win this one?
Yeah.
Like, you have the chance to win this competition, which you've won twice in the last 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
For a young group, that could be big.
Huge.
You can get there, legitimately get there. So 5th and 6th would get it for you, right? Because obviously it won't be 7th now because
that would need some sort of consistency, which this team...
Your run is good.
The run with Sheffield United and Burnley was good. and
sure,
we messed
that's
that up.
true. That is very true.
For me, when you drop points in both of those games, I just saw Burnley go to Sheffield and win 4-1.
Yeah, okay.
When you drop points in both those games, it doesn't matter what the run looks like on paper.
Yeah, you're right.
I can't think in this, what is it, the 22nd of April, that this team's going to show any consistency.
No, I get
so
it.
So the bare minimum I can ask from this team is to really go and ruin my rivals' seasons. Yeah. Really take a Premier League title race away from Arsenal on Tuesday. Really take a top 4 race away from Tottenham as well in the other game, and obviously Pochettino going up against his old club.
Yeah, at this point it's mudding everyone with you. It's quicksand FC. Let's just keep everyone in it with us.
100%.
But that's
sad.
A draw would do that for us. Like, make no mistake about it, the Villa game, I'm almost like, oh, did that kill it?
Yeah.
This would
like, nail in the coffin.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, you mentioned Odegaard, and I just want to say a quick word on him. I think he is in the best form he's ever been in for Arsenal.
Yeah.
He's just such a magical footballer. I sort of think, and this might be very extreme, if he had pace, like real pace, I think he'd be an unbelievable, like, as in, we'd be talking like one of the best in the world. Like, because his first touch is not just the execution, it's knowing where to take it in tight spaces. His intelligence, his work rate. And sometimes I see him, there was one moment against Villa where the space in front of me did really well he used skill to get past one player, but then you couldn't really attack the space with pace.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so he ends up cutting back inside. I'm like, if you just had that, even that De Bruyne explosiveness, now this guy would be unbelievable, and he is already unbelievable. I'm just nitpicking here. And I feel where Saka's been hit and miss recently, Martinez's not really at it. Trossard is a cold as ice finisher, but not the, say that after that save with Emi Martinez, but he normally is. But there's kind of attributes he's lacking. Jesus has injury problems, Havertz is Havertz. You know, Odegaard is the one actually that is firing on all cylinders at the moment.
100%.
And yeah, loving him at the moment.
Yeah, no, he's incredible. There's another part of the team that I'm really interested in, which is the left back. Because I was talking to Cecil and he was saying, not really too sure about Kivior. And then obviously I know that Zinchenko defensively is an absolute car crash. Yeah. And then there's Tomiyasu as well. Is he available for this game? Should be.
He had a knock. He always has knocks, and then he's out for 3 months. Yeah. So I hope
Palmer, if Palmer's illness, cold Palmer, they've been calling him, seems like he might have won. If he plays on the right wing, that's where the game is won and lost for me. As well as keeping Odegaard quiet, which will be down to partly selection, but also just partly concentration and whether Caicedo is on his game with the tackling and technique and not fouling people, but getting an early booking. Yeah. But Palmer versus a potential Zinchenko is what I am praying for. In terms of, if I can see Palmer and Gusto on that side, now there is something for us to play with on that flank.
Yeah, so you'll know all this because I know you follow the game not just like emotionally but tactically as well. Yeah. Like, and with Zinchenko and Kivior and Tomiyasu, it's not just the interesting profiles. Actually, Arteta's choice of how he uses them. Yeah. So against Fulham when we lost 2-1, you remember that one, 1-0 up early, lost 2-1. Kivior was inverting, and it just didn't work. No. The balance was completely off. And since the new year, especially in big games, which is why I'm interested to see whether he does for Chelsea, our build-up shape has been, no, Rice, don't bomb up the pitch, build up next to Jorginho, and then that will be our box with Odegaard, Havertz, whoever the false nine is, Rice and Jorginho. That means there's no need for an inverter, so the touchline is hugged. Yeah. Now, Zinchenko came in against Villa for the getting the ball over the top, and he was doing it. He was constantly finding Havertz. On the ball, he did his job. Yeah. But off the ball, we just looked messy. We weren't winning possession back. Centre-backs were firing across, last minute, whatever. Yeah. So it's not just whether, Kivior's maybe better defensively than Zinchenko, but is he though, really? Because I think Zinchenko's better in the air than Kivior, which you wouldn't think because Kivior's a centre-back. Zinni's better on the ball, and Tomiyasu's the best defensively, bar none, if fit. And he tries to invert, but he does it slightly differently because he actually goes higher up the pitch. So they're all used differently. And ultimately, the reason I'd go for Kivior is because it's felt to me that Arteta goes with more of a back four build-up when Kivior's in the team. Yeah. And what that means is, if we lose possession, everyone is set in the positions they're meant to be in. So there's no, I was floating around the 10 space, now I've got to sprint to left back. Or Gabriel's got to cover me while Declan Rice drops in. And there's just a defensive assuredness and a
solidarity. Yeah,
and a reliable shape that comes with Kivior in the team. Yeah. That I haven't seen that at all really with Zinni. I see it a little bit with Tomiyasu. So I'd go with Kivior. He's not been brilliant, but he's a centre-back, young centre-back, may I say, playing out of position. Yeah. And I think he's doing a good job. I'm happy with him.
It does feel like Jorginho should probably start the game as well in terms of like that Chelsea connection. Yeah. Havertz will probably start as well.
Yeah.
And those players will probably have a bit between their teeth because Jorginho was, by some parts of the Chelsea fans, sometimes disrespected.
Is he loved?
I love him.
Jorginho?
I love him. I always respected him. I always valued what he brought to the game. He was frustrating in the fact that, obviously on transition, he would get cut apart. I remember Sheffield United away, I think, many years ago, that he just got tangled in the middle of the park because you can't defend big spaces with him. But everybody should know that. And his physicality is nothing really much more you can do about it. But in terms of his intelligence and his IQ and what's up here, he's so good. And he's a good leader. And I think he's a very good personality to have in the dressing room as well.
That's come through a lot with us.
And you see it on the behind the scenes, and I see even Frimpong you know, driving around, and he's there with Georgie and he plays a guitar. So it's lovely stuff. Beautiful. I was almost going to cry, you know, unbelievable. Annoying me that he's doing it for you, but you know, it is what it is. But he's one of those players that supplements the team nicely, but you don't use him 38 games in the season. And we were doing that. We were using him as our main six. He played every single week. He was durable. Kante's not durable. He was, you know, Kante was injury struggles, Kovacic injury struggles, and he was the only person that was actually consistently there. And that was probably, you know, a Declan Rice is actually a great balance because
superb balance.
Literally you get now the build up and the spatial awareness and then you get the athleticism and obviously what he can do off the ball as well on transition. So that's going to be painful to see that because it's funny because that could have been Chelsea, considering Declan Rice was linked to us for years. But then, obviously as well, he'll have something to show. So I'm hoping Zinni plays, but I agree with you. I think it'll probably be Kivior over him, and that will keep you stable. For us, where do you see? I mean, there are so many weak points in the defence, but who are you looking at and targeting? Because
I've lost track of it.
Cucurella had a good game actually against City.
Cucurella's not a bad footballer. Like I thought it was crazy that you guys spent what 50-60 million on him or something.
Yeah, it was a lot.
But let's move on. Let's move on for it. No, but I don't think he's a bad footballer. I really don't.
Yeah.
Like he came in, he was storming it for Brighton in his first full season. And actually, I think he's not a.
He's not a flying fullback.
He's like he's not a flying fullback, but he can overlap. He can sort of. No? Not the odd sneak run.
Do you know what it is with Cucurella? He can't shoot and he can't cross.
That's a difficult one.
So it's not a great overlapper, in my opinion.
He's not bad in build-up, is he?
No, do you know what? Against Man City, he had some wonderfully smooth. He was cutting grass with those passes.
And he's locked down Saka a few times. Look, I honestly...
When he's switched on, bro, defensively, he can be immense. However, he has many brain farts in him. He can get too aggressive, get too touch tight and leave spacing behind. He could not see a run or what. So he's one of those players. But if he's locked in and he's having the game of his life, he's fantastic to watch defend. I'll say that. He's done it. Right, so and Saka's not in the best... Is he even fit? He's limping. Like, people are making a joke of the limping thing, but to be honest, and this is even from a rival, it's really not funny. Like, the guy is actually carrying... clearly an injury, and Arsenal are using him every single week. And this is the one position in the team you have no competition for. You have competition at left wing with Trossard, you have up front, you have midfield. Odegaard, Fabio Vieira should have been a thing, Smith Rowe, left half space should have been a thing, but there's people there. There's nobody at right wing.
No one.
It doesn't exist.
Even Reece Nelson's better on the left. So we've got 3 or 4 left.
It's a waste of time when you use him over there, and it changes the dynamic.
Yeah, but that's it. Is he injured? Probably carrying something because we keep hearing reports of it, especially obviously pulling out with England. Is he fit in terms of can he play? I think he can. I think whatever he's got, he's clearly able to play through it. But I actually think it's more tiredness. I think forget the injury. I mean, the injury would obviously be a part of it if there is one or whatever that is.
Yeah.
I actually just think even without that, he would be exhausted. Like I think he's just simply played a phenomenal amount of football, and we've never had the depth to keep it like for like. I was so excited by the Kudus links this summer. So excited.
Kills 2 birds with 1 stone, Odegaard and
It did
Saka.
so much. He could have played central, he could play on the right, he could have played false
Could
nine.
play up front, yeah.
He can even play on the left, actually, by the way.
I don't like him on the left.
No, but at least he got something.
Yeah.
You know, if you wanted to mix it up in game. I think, that was a missed opportunity. But Saka, the thing about Saka is he's got this phenomenal mental resilience. He constantly tries things.
Yeah.
I promise, everyone watch. He does not care what people think on Twitter.
Yeah, I know that.
Like, if he's injured, he'll limp off.
Yeah.
And if he's not, he'll play to the end. And he won't complain.
He's
and
also
he'll
very
keep tracking.
humble and he works hard. So
the work ethic.
the world-class
I've never
shouts
seen anything like it from
and
wingers.
I guess the slander of dipping at the end of the season or not being able to sustain the level or not being world-class or being world-class, the comparisons with Foden. I've never seen Saka tweet Mbappe and at him. I've never seen Saka carry himself in a way where I am world class or I am the guy. He's never had that walk that Rashford has when he's not pressing off the ball.
Yeah.
So as much as everybody around Saka will shout his name, he's just the same Saka that I saw broke through in the first place wearing number 77.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of look at him and I think, okay, cool, he didn't deliver in this moment or whatever, but did Martinelli, did Havertz, because they are part of the front three and it's not always got to be on Saka. So
yeah, that's it.
It's
man.
one of those.
He's 22.
He's young.
The job is for Arteta to have match winners next season of a good age, 25 plus, who have a degree of experience that Saka can go, oh, it's not on me today.
Yeah.
That is important. I think part of the reason Foden's having the best form of his life right now, last season Foden didn't start in City's best 11.
No.
And now he's, their player of the season.
He's been rotated his whole career up until this point.
Right. But look how primed he is now to like take it on.
Yeah.
The Bernabeu, De Bruyne is 2-0 on the bench.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Because he's relishing that. He's not going, me again, you know.
Time to clock in for another shift.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, jeez.
How many times are you going to kick me? Left back? All right. That's what Saka has to deal with day to day.
Yeah.
And I feel for him. We've got to make sure we've got the depth going forward.
Yeah, 100%. As we come towards the end, I want to quickly touch upon the manager. We did speak about Pochettino a little bit.
Yeah.
He's under a bit of pressure, it's fair to say. I think, personally, it probably will be curtains if he doesn't get any form of European football, just on a board perspective. Because... we spoke about the cup runs, but when you break down who we played, and we did the same for Arsenal in the Champions League, very nice group, to be fair. Europa League standard teams, obviously Porto. We played Leicester, Leeds, Wimbledon, Preston, Middlesbrough, so many championship teams. We ought to be in the position we got to. Arteta, if he doesn't get anything this season, next season, is it the last hurrah in terms of you got to close something? You got to close the deal. The Apprentice.
I sort of get slagged off at times for having this kind of loser mentality, but for me, it's just being pragmatic.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, people can ask end of next season, what if? But context, for me,
is important.
Runs every decision.
Of course.
If we end this season with 6 defeats, I'm considering whether he should go.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to end that way.
If you have an injury crisis next season.
But if it did, if we have an injury crisis next season and we fall short of the title, if City spend another 250 million this summer, get 95 points against the greatest manager, one of the greatest strikers.
You get 94.
It's all context, all of it. If we finish 4th in the Premier League next season, but we win an FA Cup and get to the Champions League semi-final, it's all context. So. The way I look at Mikel Arteta right now is, ultimately, I get the question, when does he have to deliver? I almost have more issue with how limply we've fallen out the cups.
Yeah.
Because getting to the quarters, losing to Bayern by a single goal, there's no shame in that.
No.
Finishing second to Pep Guardiola, Kevin De Bruyne, there's no shame in that.
No.
But it's everything else. It's to just palm off everything else to be ashamed. So I'm just looking at the season as a whole and go, I want Arsenal competitive on all fronts. You've had this team long enough to have a squad capable of competing on all fronts now. Liverpool have been doing it. City have been doing it. We need to show we can do that. I expect us, though, to keep growing as a team, as a club, as a fan base, as a manager. It's his first job. He's 4 or 5 years into his first ever job. And I think he's getting better and better. He's making mistakes, frustrating ones. The Saka burnout thing. Medical experts might tell me it's not a mistake. I believe it is a mistake. And I believe this was evident 2-3 years ago. I promise you on AFTV, you will find somewhere 2 years ago me going, we're going to need some depth because he's playing too much football. Like when we were linked to Rafinha, as we both were.
Yeah. I remember that fight. We both lost.
Oh, yeah. We both lost. Barca went. I think we'll jump in here. So ultimately, where I am is very simple. I fully believe in him. I fully trusted him. He's got us to this point. And so I will keep backing him to learn from his mistakes until I see a lot of evidence to suggest it's just he's not going to be the guy. But then the other flip side is, just to say this, he might be looking like he might be the guy and then the guy becomes available.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is, but this is never going to happen, Liverpool fans, before you get upset. But in a hypothetical world, Jurgen Klopp in a year's time goes, I'm ready to come back into the management. I love the Premier League.
I want a new challenge.
excuse me, Jurgen.
Yeah.
Like you obviously pick
It
up the
also
phone.
depends
That's
on the
never going to happen before you all get upset with me.
Yeah.
You know what they're like.
Market dependent.
Yeah, you think you go. Look, I've seen strange things. All I'm saying is, if there is a Klopp or a Pep or whatever out there, which unlikely.
Yeah.
But of course, then you start going, well, do you? So I'm behind Arteta massively, man.
Yeah, I hear that, and I think for me, it's way worse situation in terms of where we are in the league. But it's very similar words. Is that it's all about the context, and I don't think it's an embarrassment to go out to City in the cup, and it's not an embarrassment to lose to Liverpool Football Club in the final. But it's the context of how we lost to Liverpool and who were playing for Liverpool at the time of losing in extra time.
You're so right, because...
And the context of Man City playing 120 minutes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You're so right, because what you've just done is the context thing, but flipped the other way.
Yeah.
Because Chelsea could finish this season 6th, legitimately could,
yeah,
with a cup final and a cup semi-final. You lost to Liverpool and City.
Yeah.
Now, if I showed that at the beginning of the season on paper, you're going... It's a good season.
Not that bad, yeah.
You're like, okay, maybe you had aspirations for 4th. I'll be honest, I never saw 4th for Chelsea. Yeah. But you go, okay, Europa League football, cup runs. Shame we lost those, but but the context, you're playing so many academy players against, when you play Liverpool, and then a exhausted City side with all the chances you had.
Yeah.
And then 6th, you go, but did we deserve it? United let us have it, and Newcastle weren't at it.
Yeah.
And then context dictates in a totally different way
that
you'd have every right to go, I still want Poch gone. So people need to stop making it about just results. Maybe over certain times, sure, but context matters with all of it.
Yeah, it's very important. This game will be very interesting. I think you guys will dominate the ball, and we'll probably... I think we'll be smart to sit off and try and maybe play on the transition, because that's how we play anyway. We don't like to dominate the ball and play against a low block. And I mean, if you guys put up a low block, not that you would at home, but we saw what you did at the Etihad, and it was pretty damn problematic. So we wouldn't need that.
Yeah, Mikel Simeone was unlocked that day.
Can Jackson get any change out of Saliba and Gabriel? We'll have to see. I mean,
I think he can. I
he's
think
given
he
defenders problems. Yeah, but
does
he finish the chance at the end of it is the problem. But he can create for others. But I do think, if Zinchenko doesn't start, then it's very difficult to see, man for man, where we're going to win our battles, because you guys are a physical team. We do stink on set pieces, and you guys are incredible on set pieces. On dead ball situations alone, you're going to give us problems, let alone everything that happens in open play.
But you've got some match-defining players for all that. That when you spend $1 billion, you end up with something. And Raheem Sterling not having a great season. I know he's had waves up and down, but he can do something. He sees space, he attacks, he can score. Did it at the Etihad. Jackson can be a bit of a problem, weirdly, despite how many chances
issues in the final.
Yeah, and Palmer, he doesn't need a lot.
No.
So there are potential moments players, not in the way Man United are, but you're just always aware of that. Like I said, $1 billion must have gone towards something. So
you would hope so. I did do a game show, Who Wants to Be a Billionaire?
I saw it.
And I'm not sure what's happened.
How long did that take you?
Too long. Far too long. That
was one of those who went, this will be fun. Millionaire, billionaire, I can have some fun with this. And then you're 2 hours into the recording going,
I'm exhausted.
Let's wrap up this. I think we'll make it 8 rounds.
The amount of re-records, 30 times, I can tell you.
I'm not surprised.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Give me James's team to wrap up. I'll give you my team. But what's James's 11? You pick the team. Forget Arteta. What would you put out first 11?
All right, what I do, I know this very clearly. Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Kivior, Odegaard, Jorginho, Rice, Trossard, Jesus, Saka. Wow. I have concerns about the left, and Martinelli and Zinchenko lacking. How much flair and quality do you really have on that side? But I think Jesus drifts wide a lot. Trossard comes into central spaces. Havertz we obviously haven't mentioned, but you don't know what you're going to get from him.
The worst thing that can happen in this game is not only we lose, but Havertz scores and plays really well.
Do you think he'll celebrate?
Yes, I think he will.
I think he should.
I think he should too. I'll be honest.
I don't think he'll score though. I don't think he'll score.
It would be very, very me if he did. I don't know what that means, but it's very me.
It'd be very in keeping with
for my watch-alongs and the way my season's going. If he scores, it's very me. Very me. I'd go Petrovic in goal, Gusto right back. I don't know what's going on, but you got to play. I'd go Trevor Chalobah and Silva at centre back with Cucurella left back. I'd go Gallagher next to Caicedo, take Enzo out, let him rest, get surgery. I'd play Palmer on the right, drop Madueke out, Carney Chukwuemeka in the 10, left wing, Sterling or Mudryk. Who are you more afraid of?
Sterling.
Mudryk scored against Arsenal in the home game. And he's got history.
Yeah, didn't mean it.
I'll go Mudryk. He didn't mean it, but I'll go Mudryk.
Mudryk's pace is still frightening. That's the one thing he actually has shown at Chelsea. Like, he is clearly a real athlete.
Yeah.
But Sterling, he's done it to us many times. So, yeah, I'll worry about
For long-term proofing and planning, I'm just going to go Mudryk because he's got to do something in this shirt. It's just cost a lot of money.
He's wearing the 10, 88 million's got to deliver.
Yeah. Jackson up front, and that will be that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. God damn. Prediction, you're going to win?
I've gone for a 2-0. I don't think this will be easy.
I said 3-1 on box-to-box to Arsenal.
Yeah, you'll probably score.
Doing a bit of reverse psychology. I'm hoping it works.
Yeah.
Probably going to get slated by Chelsea fans. You're not backing the team. We need to back the team. What are you saying? All right.
Is this more watch-along or hate-along for you? Which one is it? So you're saying on box-to-box it's both, but...
Pray along.
It's fair enough.
That's what it is. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm conflicted.
Like, what will you be happier with? Chelsea winning or Arsenal losing?
Arsenal losing.
Yeah, fair
I'm not going to lie.
It's
because our win right now is like, it doesn't really mean much because we don't know what we're going to get against the worst teams in the league. So we might win a game like this. We played well against big teams, but we could go and they could make me pull my hair out the very next game. Whereas if you lose, the title race is over and then that's it.
It's like when we drew to City and I got clipped up for the whole celebration thing.
Yeah.
People were like, you're celebrating a draw. And I was like, you don't get it. I'm also celebrating
not losing.
City's 2 points dropped. Like,
true,
I was also like, they dropped 2 points today.
So did we.
I'm very, we gained a point. Okay, they dropped two. But yeah, football's funny. I saw that as a 3-point swing.
Oh, bro, that was brilliant. Funny, I love that. And the way it just went straight to Twitter, I was like,
this sofa, right? I won't be celebrating draws against you guys.
Oh no, and I won't be celebrating a draw either. I'll say that. Like, if we do draw at the Emirates, I won't. It's not a win, so it's not really enough.
Do it. It feels good.
No,
do it. Just try. If we draw, just have a good time.
I'll understand what it means for you, but for us, it doesn't mean anything. We need to win every game.
Yeah, fair.
So, let the people know where to find you, bro. It's been an absolute pleasure. No,
thanks for having me. Yeah, it's always complicated. I don't know why I make it so difficult. In short, my channel name is called James B. Yeah. My at's called James Gooniverse because I'm just building a little universe of Gooner things. Yeah, it's a clever little name. Did you get it? Gooner.
It's long on the at. I bet AFTV hate that.
I will shorten it.
Do they hate that? I bet they do.
But I never ask people to put it in the title because I always think it looks a bit...
It's too long.
Just put me in the description.
I can't put anything else if I put that there.
No, don't bother. Yeah, just
Chelsea
preview. And then here's your at. So there you go.
3 letters, James. It's much easier. But it's a good name.
Thank you. But yeah, that's where you find me on my AFTV. Previewed this with Turkish and Assessor as well. And yeah, I'll be reacting to it all on AFTV as well.
Yeah. Well, guys, I thought I was just going to be having so much to do today, but they just let me contemplate life today at AFTV. Not too much content, just little box to box as well. And then we said, you know what? I need to talk to James. Therapy session.
Always a pleasure.
So I've actually been pretty chill today. No stress.
Good. That's how it should be.
I think they know my mental health is in the gutter watching this team, so they just didn't want to overload.
Take it easy, Matisse. I've been there.
Take it chill. 100%. Guys, make sure you smash up the likes. Make sure you subscribe. Link is in the description, of course, for James' channel as well. Make sure you check it out. The quality is off the charts.
Oh, thanks.
The thumbnails, the production, the salt lamp, the analysis, the transitions. I watch it, and I don't even support Arsenal. I'm being deadly serious.
I appreciate that.
Make sure you check it out. It's not a joke. It's
Big
serious.
up to Max, man.
Road to 30k.
Yeah.
He's so good. More than you can believe. So make sure you do that. And I'll see you guys for the watch along, and we'll be there. Until next time, in a bit, people. Peace.
Yeah.